Welcome back once again to A Chief's Wife's Hearts of Fire. I'm the Chief's wife, and I'm back with a second booklet that I've made. Up above, you saw the book I made for the younger couple for their first home. They'd gotten through several homes before they'd finally found the perfect home to buy. Well, our older couple had blessed us with our first grandchild last June. And so in a D-stash for Candy Caldwell, Susan Mostek, and Linda Ledbetter helped me gather up old dies that were retired from Tim Holtz to add to my collection. I'd been looking for them for a long time. I mean more than 4 years. Now, I came across these 2 books that Candy Caldwell had for sale, and I decided to go ahead and get both of them and make each a Christmas gift for both sets of kids. And the first one was easy to come across an idea for the younger kids because of the houses that they'd been to, and we'd been to visit every house that they'd lived in, and there was something to love about each and every one of those, so it made it easy to go through the pictures and add to theirs. Plus, she's got a shabby chic idea going on. Well, the older set of kids had their house first, but they also had the first grandchild for us, and so my thought was carried over from the house idea to the first grandchild. And I thought that this would be a perfect gift for his first Christmas because, in the words of his other Grammy, that little thing has more miles on him than the Energizer Bunny. We've got him used to going back and forth to each set of his grandparents, whom he shares both last names, and he has gotten used to going places with all of us. And the thing is, this child is a joy to take places. So my thought was to get him recorded in all of the places he'd been to, starting with his own first home. Now, I imagine that they're going to stay put here, so I'm pretty safe to say that this is going to be his house forever. And I made a little doll of coal, starting with the Sizzix doll die, and added some clothes just like it had in the picture, only I decided to make it the light blue and white for a boy. And you can notice on here that I put the real hair, what he looks like. Yes, he's got tiny little bald spots back here, and he's adding hair just like his dad and his Uncle Brett. They had their first haircut, I think, at age 3. And then the hair really came in. If you'll look, I had the only kids with blonde froze. Well, this little man has soft blonde hair, so I added to it with a little darks of fleck in there for the darkness that was turning blonde. And I made this all waterproof, so in case he gets his little mouth on there, we have a couple of minutes before we can grab it out, that it should be all right. It's totally been glued together. I think I have about 6 or 7 layers in there, besides having the cardboard in the middle of it to actually add some stiffness for this. And believe me, that's pretty stiff. Now, the book itself was very strong, already bound together at the side. So basically all I had to do was add my finishing touches to the bottom layer, which would be the background, and then add some more on top of that. That would be the top layer. And then add the waterproofing, which I doubled between the I doubled this out using 2 different kinds, the multimedia matte and the Mod Podge in the matte. Now, the reason why was because some of this was embossed, and the matte on the Mod Podge didn't do as well as the multimedia matte. So you can take your choice whichever you want to do. But I had an easier time using the multimedia matte on a lot of the different embossed or softer papers that I used. Now, this is all cardstock, except some of the cardstock that is more like it's a softer, almost a construction paper kind of cardstock. So it was easier to cut but harder to do the Mod Podge. It got wet really fast, so this made it easier to do. I really like the multimedia mat. It's expensive, but it's well worth it when you want to waterproof something. Now, the very first page is the front of the house itself with the color of the garage door, using that for his pocket. And we go to the first page, open it up, and this is his home. Now, you can see what the house really did look like. And so I tried to copy it as well as I could. I put in pictures of when he was born, before he was born. Doing the windows had to use what better than a nail file to fit in those. And then fitting up against there, you can do what you want with a book like this. And it was awesome to use these pictures. It left me with some space in there that I can always add something else later. But I really liked the way that I shaved the edge of the paper after I put it on there. And Mod Podged it really good on the underside. Mod Podge was great for sticking it together onto the underside. And the multimedia mat on the top side. Now you can see what I did with the colors. I went from the bright to the light, bright to light, all the way through. So it would not only give primary colors throughout the book, but he'd notice the places that he went to. This was his first trip up to Minnesota to see the younger couple kids. And it was the first chance for the older couple kids to also see Red Wing. And we had a great time up there. I better put this down a little bit. My hands keep shaking. And then I took him for his first pumpkin trip, and this turned out to be the largest pumpkin in Indiana weighed in. We got a chance to see it before it was declared the largest pumpkin in Indiana. You can see how much of a joy he is. Now, what I did with each color, too, was the first one was his. The second was place he's been with all of us. And this is one of the parks where near they live. And then his first set of grandparents, his mommy's grandparents. And she has a nickname, Fasha. They just love having that baby. You can see they have 4 grandkids now. And Cole is their only daughter's first. But Adam is their oldest when he's their first. And they just had another one, Nola, 2 months after Cole was born. And re-looking at these just makes me smile all over again. Now this is where I did my preference. My favorite color is pink, and Papa's favorite color is red. And you can see the Fro children, the blonde Fro, and Ashley did this one night in Red Wing. And we were laughing so hard. Brian made her go to bed with him and Cole, and Holly and Brett and I were out, and of course, Dad was out for the count, and we were messaging these back and forth on Snapchat, having such a fun time. It was a great visit. I love going up there to see my younger kids, and taking the older kids was just a dream come true for me, having all my kids together again. You can tell I've had a blast. Now, this purple is for church, and because you go to church because you're a sinner, you're not perfect, I added a little bit of extra all around there where it made it look like it was scratched apart. Now, I just started that because I decided I had a couple more pictures to add in here, so I don't want to scratch it too much up yet. And yes, we love taking him every Sunday, and we are blessed that the older kids let us take him. And we go on Wednesday nights too, where they have the jam for the kids. And this is one of my favorite ones. Now, I've forgotten to show you that the reason why he's tagged with this little rope is because he visits each place as the pages turn. And so you figure that he's going to be moving himself all along while we remind him of all the places he'd been in his first year. And the last one is his favorite place of all, his own home. And there you go. So the idea was he's used to going these places, but it was to remind him of all these places he'd been to. And I had such fun making this. This is his real crib set. So I had to print these out as pictures and then laminate the whole thing over, and making the double and triple pictures, just building up on the other pictures themselves. And the back of the house, exactly. I tried to match the color in there by scratching a little bit into it and putting more paint on top of that. You can do what you like to do to make it as close as you want, or not even as close as you want. But this sure was a fun project. I'm not sure which one I liked better, the one I did for the younger kids or the one I did for the older kids, because I had a lot of love and a lot of fun making them that I put into that. So there you go. There's your book gifts. And it's an idea to give to your own family. Thanks for checking in at A Chief's Wife's Hearts of Fire. And come back again. Thanks.